Today I'm shooting with a Leica Lux app, and for me it's not, well, just a filter for a smartphone. It feels more like a camera sitting on top of your iPhone. You choose a classic Leica camera look, you emulate a real Leica lens, you set an aperture and you shoot with intention like you never knew on a phone. In this short video I'll show you my preferred setup, we'll shoot real scenes here in Munich, and I give you my honest verdict on this app in the end. I spent 2 days shooting the streets of Munich with nothing but Leica Lux and an iPhone. Here's what I found out. Leica is strange in the best way. It's not just a camera brand, it's a symbol of deliberate choices, of fewer distractions, of a very specific idea about what a photograph should feel like. Manual focus, prime lenses, no chimping through endless variations. You decide before you press the shutter. An iPhone is the opposite philosophy. Infinite options, AI doing a good chunk of the seeing for you, shoot 50 frames and pick one later. That's the antithesis of Leica discipline. So a Leica iPhone app sounds like a contradiction. But street photography has always been about one thing above everything else: being ready when something interesting happens. And a camera most of us actually have when that moment arrives is the phone in your pocket. I see Lux as Leica's answer to this reality. Not a replacement for a real Leica, because of course nothing could be, but an attempt to bring that slow down, commit and see mindset into the device we already carry everywhere. Does it work? Let's find out. And one thing up front, every photo you see in this video is completely unedited, straight out of the app. So here's what makes Lux different from other camera apps. It forces you to decide before you shoot. That's it. First, your focal length, but this isn't casual phone zoom. Each option emulates a classic Leica lens: 28mm, 35mm, 40mm, 50mm. To me, it felt like actually screwing a lens onto a body and committing to it for a while. For me, 35 is for years now home. Wide enough for context, tight enough for attention. 50mm is more the quiet one. The focal length I shot with for years before I even knew the term street photography. It isolates gestures and faces without losing the street feeling. Second, you choose the look. This is more than a filter. It changes the entire rendering. Tone, contrast, how highlights fall off and how the image holds together. And what I really like is that this setup encourages you to do something rare in phone photography. You commit, you set it, then you shoot. Oh, and I found a big issue here. It feels really awkward to shoot with a smartphone on the street. Like doing street photography with a phone feels like being some, I don't know, tourist, or even worse, being a creep, sneaking away some photos from people. So I hope that changes, but yeah, that's a big issue for me so far. I thought I spent a lot of time with a 28 and 40, very Leica-ish focal length, classic choices, but I barely touched them on these 2 days. What happened naturally was 35 and 50. I remain a Fuji shooter at heart, even when flirting with a red dot. And here's where the app proved its worth practically. The face tracker is really fast. Street photography gives you fractions of a second. You don't always have the time to build a perfect composition and wait. Sometimes you just lift the phone as someone passes, and that's the only moment you get. Lux kept up with that, and that's why even quick improvised shots still look clean and intentional rather than desperate. My favorite simulation is the Greg Williams black and white look, and the reason is mainly the film-like grain. It's one of the most convincing digital film grain simulations I've ever seen on a phone. It doesn't look like noise sprinkled on top, it looks like the grain is part of the photograph's DNA, not its decoration or something. Let's quickly zoom on this photo here. I think you see what I mean. Genuinely analog looking. Paired with that fast tracking, it does something remarkable. Even shots taken in motion, quick, imperfect moments can still look meaningful and arty. I went to a free Iran demonstration here in Munich. 250,000 people, the son of the Shah speaking. Normally not my scene, but I love Iran and its people, so I had to be there. I started in color, obviously. The Iranian flag is vibrant and I wanted to honor that energy. These people were hopeful and positive despite everything happening in Iran right now. Despite the suffering, despite friends and relatives who've died, color felt right, but somehow black and white worked better. The faces of that rainy Munich Saturday became more soulful. I think you genuinely can't tell these were made on a phone. A small tip, slightly underexposed in black and white, and it gets even more analog. The shadows get richer, the highlights hold longer, the whole image feels differently. That's what I did here. When color does matter, the natural look is my favorite, alongside what Leica calls the contemporary look. It's calm, no shiny, overprocessed phone aesthetic, skin tones look real. The image feels photographic rather than generated by AI or a computer. It won't render like a real Leica. The sensor is small, physics is physics. But the color and tone feel unusually mature for a phone. And in street photography, where authenticity matters more than technical perfection, that maturity carries real weight. One practical note, 50mm worked great most of the time. Beyond that, the iPhone starts to show its limits. More shake, more softness, especially with moving subjects in imperfect light, which is basically all of street photography. So I stayed at 35mm at my base, used 50 for quieter moments, didn't push much further. The app can't beat the physics of a small sensor. It can only work within those limits more intelligently than most. And honestly, that's enough. Here's what a full day with Lux made pretty clear to me. The iPhone makes photography so easy that it can make you careless. I see it in some of my frames. Moments where I lifted the phone without really looking, where the convenience quietly turned me from a hunter into a collector. The app helps. The interface slows you down just enough. Choosing your focal length and look before you shoot creates a small amount of friction. The good kind of friction. The kind that makes you pause for half a second and actually think. But you still have to see. No software can do that for you. No interface can force you to notice the light on a stranger's face. No tracking system teaches you to anticipate the moment before it arrives. And I think that's exactly what Leica understands and wants to do with that. This app doesn't try to turn an iPhone into a M10 or Q3. It tries to turn the iPhone photographer into someone who thinks like they're shooting on an M10. Choose your lens, choose your look, commit, shoot. The tool matters less than the way you look. So this is really a pretty good app. Not because it closes the gap between an iPhone and a Leica. It doesn't, and saying otherwise would be kind of dishonest. But because it brings Leica thinking into the phone world. And that thinking, that discipline, that commitment, that refusal to treat photography as a casual afterthought matters more than the glass in front of the sensor. And here's the part that would make film purists quietly jealous. If you did pick the wrong look that doesn't feel right for you, you can still change it afterwards. You get a discipline of commitment without the punishment of permanence, so to speak. I photograph more with my phone than with my camera these days. With a Fuji X100V or Leica Q3, I sometimes ask myself, is it really worth a photo? On the iPhone, I just shoot, and by shooting more freely, I learn a lot about what actually interests me out there, not what I think should interest me as a photographer. Will this replace my Fuji? No. A real Leica? Absolutely not. But will it change the way I shoot when I have the phone already in my pocket? Already has. Oh, and please also consider checking out one of these videos here because they're popping up on your screen and YouTube thinks you may like them. See you there.